Hello everyone, welcome to the first ever Youtini update. My name's Eric, and this is the show where weekly I'm going to bring you all the latest in Star Wars news, in the Star Wars fandom, and with a little bit of fun nerd stuff on the side. So make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and let's jump into the one story that we're all thinking about this week. Last night, we got the first 2 episodes of the newest Star Wars live-action show, The Acolyte. Now, The Acolyte is the first ever show in the High Republic era, live-action that is, sorry Young Jedi Adventures, and I still can't believe it's here. So before we get into anything else, leave a comment below. Did you watch the episodes? What did you think about it? What were your favorite parts about it? I'm very excited to hear about that. And if you want a little bit more, I'll tell you what, Star Wars has been on the behind-the-scenes bandwagon lately. There are a ton of videos on their channel that are interviewing cast members about the show, that are talking about choreography, that are talking about the sword fights, that are talking about the lore. You want to talk about Amandla Stenberg? You want to talk to Carrie-Anne Moss? It is all on there. And let me tell you, it feels refreshing to see this happen. You know, there have been so many pieces of Star Wars content lately, but this feels like the biggest media blitz they've done in a long time, and it's all a lot of fun from the official sources. Now, of course, in the Star Wars space, official sources aren't the only sources. I mean, hey, look at us. There are a bunch of people in the creative space that have been talking about the show. Some of my favorites, of course, have been Alex and Molly Damien over at Star Wars Explained. Last week, they put out this hour-long video all about their trip to Lucasfilm. Yes, Alex and Molly got to go to the premiere of The Acolyte with a bunch of other creators, some of which I'll talk about in a second, but they also got to go tour Lucasfilm, talk to Dave Filoni, Leslie Headland, so make sure to go check that video out and hear all about the behind the scenes from 2 people who absolutely deserve to be there. And if you want a little more fun after The Acolyte is done, well, I gotta tell you all about that too. Here on the Youtini Network, we have the Bounty Hunt podcast. So after every episode of Star Wars television, our Bounty Hunt crew, Oz, JG, Jacob, and sometimes a rotating cast of other hosts will talk about the show. They'll talk about what happened, they'll talk about their favorite parts, and they'll use our Star Wars expertise to kind of theorize about what's going on, and with a little clowning now and then, because come on, that's sometimes the most fun part of it all. And there's also a bunch of people in the space doing recaps, like the Sky Talkers. Caitlin and Charlotte have been at this game for years now. They were also at the Acolyte premiere in California, and they do really great deep dives into episodes once they're done. So if you want to hear, oh, I never thought about that before, or I didn't make that connection, you guarantee the Sky Talkers have. And they do really great thematic ideas about it as well. They go deeper than you'd ever think, and they also have a heck of a good time doing it. So go subscribe to them wherever you get your podcasts as well. And finally, I'm going to give a shout out to Brad and Sarah from Friends of the Force. They've been doing some great work over there for years, especially in the book space, which we love as well. And they also got to go to California for the premiere of The Acolyte. So make sure to follow their coverage. And basically, in the Star Wars community, there are so many people having fun with new shows, and you have plenty of sources to find the favorite voice that you love to be talking about the show that you love. Now, the Acolyte show wasn't the only piece of Acolyte news we got this week. We also heard that there will be a Marvel comic about Kelnacca, the Wookiee Jedi Master, coming out later in September. We have a cover here by Phil Noto, and it is very fun to see getting this kind of support from the comics realm. As a huge fan of Andor, my personal favorite Star Wars show so far, I missed out on the fact that we didn't get a lot of tie-ins to it, which Star Wars is usually very good at. So them already putting out an Acolyte comic in the fall is huge. And if you're not a huge comic reader but want a little more of this specific era, this is going to be a one-shot comic. You should only have to see the show, and you can already pre-order it, I believe, at your local comic store, or if not, they're going to tell you about that code a lot sooner than you think. And if you want even more High Republic content, this is your reminder that next Tuesday, I believe June 11th, Temptation of the Force by Tessa Gratton comes out, and this is the second adult novel in Phase 3 of the High Republic. Now, if you're not caught up, that's okay, because all you need to read in this phase is Eye of Darkness by George Mann and then this book. If you want a little more behind the scenes about what's going on with the plot points of Temptation of the Force, as someone who has already read it, I might recommend you check out Defy the Storm by Tessa Gratton and Justina Ireland. This is a young adult book, tonally a little different, but obviously Tessa wrote this one as well, and there are some plot points that will travel forward into Temptation of the Force next week. Now, if you want our full review of Temptation of the Force, that will be on Youtini.com next Tuesday for release day, and I will also tell you in next week's Youtini update my basic thoughts about it, because I don't want to spoil it for you just yet. Now that's almost it for us this week. I want to let you guys know that this Friday, I hope you come back to the channel. Again, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't, so you know when we put out new videos every single week, because this Friday we are giving you a primer on the High Republic. I'm going to tell you about the characters, I'm going to tell you about the wave structure, and the Acolyte is your gateway into this amazing era. I'm so excited for you, and we're going to help you navigate it top to bottom. And also, if you haven't yet, go ahead and sign up for our newsletter, the Youtini Dispatch. They're going to give you new stories like this, as well as things from all over the nerd space every single week in your email inbox. And honestly, the writing is just really freaking good. So shout out JG and Emmy and Carl for putting that together every single week. But that's it for this week's Youtini update. I hope you enjoyed it. Every single week, we're going to come back. I'm going to get you all caught up from everything happening in the Star Wars sphere with our amazing community members and, of course, the official people at Disney itself. But until next time, I hope you love the Acolyte. Let us know what you're excited about for next week. And until then, may the Force be with you.